Hello, welcome to the Mighty Viridian. I'm going to be doing some color mixing for you today, and I want to introduce you to this wonderful green that I use. Um, I am going to be teaching some classes starting in June. We have 12 days, and it's called Color Confidence, and it's for kids and for adults as well. And I find that color mixing is really difficult to do, and there's a lot of guesswork. Hold on just a second. I'm going to delete that comment. There's a lot of guesswork to it, and it can be really difficult and challenging and frustrating for artists. So I've come across, well, this happened when I was in college, a systematic way to learn your paints and what they do. And so I want to teach that. It'll be kind of a beginning of this journey into mixing colors. So I want to share that with my students, but I wanted to give you an idea of what class will be like. It's for kids and adults, and just this morning I added an online version. So we can go on Zoom, we can do the same thing. You'll just have to get your own supplies. So let's get started. So Viridian, it's kind of a weird name, and it's a very strong color. It's this one right here. It's kind of obnoxious. But from this color, I can get everything that I need. I paint in oil, and that's the only green on my palette. I know a lot of watercolors like to have all the colors out. They have, because they can dry, and it doesn't matter if they dry, you just wake it up with water. Well, I can't really do that. My oils will dry and then I can't use them. So I have one green, and it sounds restraining, but it really does give me everything that I need. Gives me everything I need to get all the colors that I need. So soft shades, sages, yellows, and things like that. So I just wanted to show you real quick on my website. So these colors here, I can get with that very harsh color, these soft shades of greens and blues. Let's go in here. This one right here, it's Viridian. These green and yellow shades right here. Yeah. And so it's a process to learn how to mix your colors. But there's a way to do it. I'm going to show you a little bit. It's probably not hard to believe that I used Viridian to get this, probably mostly blue. But these deep, deep greens you can get. And there was another, oh yeah, this one. Yeah. So I start off with Viridian because it's kind of a vibrant green, and you can always take it down, like make it more subtle and soften it. So I'm going to show you a book. Let me see if I can do it. There we go. All right. So this is a book by Richard Schmid, and he's a really wonderful oil painter. He has since passed away, but he left us a lot of material and books. And if you get one book, if you're an oil painter or a watercolorist even, if you get one book, this is the book to get. The principles in this book translate well for all mediums. So in this book, he does color charts, and I'm hoping I don't have really bad lag on my phone here, but I'm just going to keep going. Hopefully you can hear me as well. But you can see these beautiful charts that he's made, and you're mixing one color with every color on your palette. So for instance, this is the cadmium red page or chart, and you take cadmium red and you mix it with your yellows and your other shades that you have, alizarin crimson and all the way down green and blue. And then you get all these lovely shades when you add the white and make a gradient all the way down. So he says, just to show you again how marvelous the color charts can be, imagine the 3 color charts shown here, not as boringly identical squares arranged in perfect rectangles, but instead as flowers, leaves, and a background. So that's what we do in the class. And I started to do some of my own. I haven't finished, but this is my start. This is my cadmium yellow. And so here's my cadmium yellow. And then I mix it with my other yellow ochre, red cad, alizarin, and I can't remember. I'd never labeled these, so I'll have to figure it out. It's probably burnt sienna, burnt umber, and Viridian, and ultramarine. So you can see how satisfying they are. So I am like a believer in these charts and how beautiful they can be. And look at all these colors. Can you believe just 2 colors mixed together makes these, well, plus the white as well. So we can do this with watercolor as well. Okay, so I'm going to show you just a little bit of what we can do with Viridian. I'm going to close out some windows. We are getting some lag, and I'm a little unsure as to how to help that. Let me see. I have no more programs to quit, so I don't know why, but I apologize. Hopefully it kind of gets settled. So here's the color out for you. And then these are the colors we're going to mix. I'm not going to do all these today, but just give you an idea of what we do and what all I can get with this color. So I'm just going to get some on the plate. So now I'm going to mix Viridian with my yellow pale, and we'll see what lovely shades we get. Now this is a chart I kind of made up, and I'm just trying out some charts because I want to be a little more thorough. These 3 will be yellow pale, but I think there will be varying degrees of adding the yellow in. So if we just add a little bit of the green, well, actually I need to go the other way. So I'm going to have more green for yellow, just to where it changes it a little bit. And then we'll make a little swatch. And in a little bit, I'll do some of these paint chips and then challenge myself and see what all I can get with it. Okay, and then this was right here is going to be like your gradients. So you can see how it looks at its darkest and then as it lightens. So we'll do a little gradient here. And then when you're done with these charts, then you'll have them. It'll be like a resource for you. Okay, I don't know if you can see that very well. Maybe I'll go all the way across and just do, because I want to see what more yellow looks like on here. Sorry, I'm like changing my mind as we go. So look what a beautiful spring green I can get if I just add more yellow. I'm going to get some more pigment here. I want the color to be stronger. There we go. And just that little bit of a change. Okay, more yellow. I didn't do my gradient, I forgot. So this way you can see what it looks like going from dark to light and all the variation of color you can get in between. Now these are really saturated colors. You have to use another color if you want to dull it down a little bit and make it less saturated. I'm going to go back and do that other gradient. Please try to match it. Okay. I feel like that was pretty predictable, huh? So I'm going to clean this up because we don't want this color to affect the color we're getting ready to do. I'll leave what I feel like is just Viridian on here. Okay. Next is yellow ochre. I tend to not paint with yellow ochre, but I felt like it was really quite nice. I tried it. I was trying to figure out which two yellows I wanted to do, and this one's pretty interesting for mixing the green. You're going to start getting a little bit of a sap green with this. And you want to mix it just to where it makes a change, you know, where you can see that it makes a change. And I'm going to make another one with just a little more of the yellow ochre in there. You see it going a little more sap green. So if you choose to do the charts, the thing that's most helpful by doing this is you're learning your paints and how they react to each other. So the unpredictability is gone. I know what's going to happen. And a lot of that's also just the more you do it, the more you mix your paints, the more you know. But the more you do this, you're not guessing anymore, you know, and that happens a lot with painting. Like if they're bright like this, it's pretty easy to figure out what the color, you know, what you should add. But when you get into the subtle colors, you know, like this one, like how would you know that yellow ochre and Viridian, just those two colors make this shade? And then you're not making mud. It's just more pure colors. The fewer colors you use to mix a paint is the better. Then you have more pure color, and it just looks better. It makes a big difference. So pretty soon, as we keep going, we're going to come up with some really different colors. All right, so here, just these two, and you've brought this really strong color down to this really nice kind of a sap green color and down in here. So it eliminates, when you do the charts, you'll find you need fewer colors on your palette. You don't need all the shades. And really, if I had all of them on my palette, I would be limited. If I had these colors, you know, these two sappy kind of colors on my palette, then I wouldn't be able to get stronger colors or this color because they would already be mixed and already dulled down. So when you start with the pure green, you can do anything you need with it. Am I selling you on Viridian? So I have a class that I teach on Wednesdays to a lovely group of people, a group of artists. Most of them are watercolor artists. And so I go in and we have a little lesson time. We do all kinds of things. I'll draw, have them draw. We do pen and ink, sometimes just fun things, more technical things. We go back and forth. So for a while we were just doing mixing color, and we weren't doing charts. We were doing it just, experimenting and seeing what all we could get. And I introduced them to Viridian, and, just looking at it, like, that's your only green you use. They did not like it. But when they started mixing it and having them do, this, but just not charts, we're like, okay, now let's mix yellow with it. Okay, now let's mix red with it. What's it do? And I converted a few of them. They said they were going to go out and get Viridian. All right, let's get some Cad Red. Do you have any predictions? What do you think this one's going to be? It's kind of an orangey red. Not what you think of when you think of red. Traditionally, I remember going to my painting classes, like in college, kind of just getting used to these odd colors as staples, as just like the only colors on your palette. Aside from this one, I would switch it out with a darker yellow. This is pretty much my palette right now. The painting that I'm doing right now, that's on a huge palette, the sunset. These are my colors. Yeah. I did add one turquoise because of the sky. It kind of saved me some time. But other than that, these are the colors that I use. And you see what I'm able to get with them. All right. Now this is a kind of a brown. I'm going to add a little more Viridian because I'm going to do 3 stages with this as well. So more green than red. And there's really not a formula, half and half or 3 dabs of this, 1 dab of that. It really is just, you're just looking at it and judging as you go. So that was interesting. Kind of a gray, a green gray. Okay. Oh, what did I do? Did I tap that by accident? All right. A little more red. Now we're getting into a bit of a brown. I'm going to do one more on this, and then do some color mixing, maybe. Color mix challenge. Let's see. I still want it to look like it's been influenced by green. Let's see. Yeah, a little more red. And just see how much the green takes the red down to make an interesting brown red color. So I think I do like this chart. Because just mixing it once doesn't give you the full range of what can happen with these two colors. So I think this works well. I'm going to skip alizarin because it's one of those beautiful aha moments that I want to save for my students that take the class. So if you take the class, buckle up. It's going to be lovely. It's like one of those surprises. I remember gasping when I mixed those two together for the first time. So I'm going to keep my water. I'm going to do ultramarine. And then maybe I think I'm going to do one of these so you can see it happen in real time. This is a little more slow paced and boring. But I just wanted you to be able to see the full range of what can be done with this one green. And I just can't even imagine it doing a different way. Like I would be so lost and probably really frustrated. But thinking about just using this green probably sounds frustrating too, if it's not for you. But I wonder if I'm converting anybody to try Viridian. I feel like you'll never go back because I can't. I don't want to change what I'm doing. Okay, so ultramarine blue is kind of like a deep purpley blue almost. Let's get a little more. So like this is going to be fairly predictable. And then I want to do something with it to show you how I can tone these things down because you can't get every color with just mixing two colors, especially for your more neutral shades. Now the ultramarine and Viridian are really, really nice together. However, what if you need a more subtle one of these? So we'll do that in a minute and I'll show you what can be done with it. Oh. Okay, a little more blue. Oh, this is so pretty. I think this is my shade for my life. I'm a blue person, but not painter's tape blue, but a greenish deep blue. Okay, I think this maybe I'll just do like a 50% instead of trying to do a gradient because that's a little hard to do. But then you can see what it looks like lighter. When you're painting in oil and you do these charts and you add the white, it really changes things because you're adding actual pigment instead of just water to lighten it up. And white cools things down. So when you start off with the warms, sorry, this is a rabbit trail. I'll show you. As you cool things down with white, what it kind of does, especially here and here, the changes, it looks like it changes color families almost because the white is a cooler color as opposed to like, you know, a warmer would be like one of these, and it will cool off your colors a little bit. So you have to like be careful with that. If you want things lighter, but you want to keep them warm, sometimes adding yellow instead of white is a good way to do it. If it makes it light enough, that is. So it's really interesting what your paints do. Now get a different brand of paint and it'll act differently. So that's why this is perfect for when you figure out what paints you want to use and you're set on them, what brands, and I mixed a few brands together. then you learn how your paints behave together. Not just this color, but this color in this brand. So it does make a difference. It's not complicated at all. It's fine. All right, let's do a little more blue. Oh, I messed up my, oops. I did that earlier. I had a little mishap on my chart, but I was not going to redo it. There we go. That works. I have to be more careful. All right, I need a little more blue for this. Oh, look at that. So that ball jar that had the daisies, ultramarine and Viridian all the way. All the way. I'm a little messy, but it's okay. Okay. And then we'll do this. I like how I just left alizarin out to dry. But there's a reason. I can't give away all the fun. You save something for my students. Okay. So here's this. Look at that. Look how we went. Look at all these different colors. Colors that you'll need. One green. And the only difference was what I mixed with it. Okay. So what if we want, you know, these kind of shades, but we're going, you know, not so intense, you know? So that's where the burnt sienna comes in, which is another power color, which I love to use. Let me just switch this. I gotta clean this off. We can't have blue. Well, you know what? We can. We're gonna need the blue. We are just going on the fly today. All right, so here's my burnt sienna. Watch what happens when I add a little bit of this to this blue and green combination. We're getting into the really soft greens and blues that we can get. I left these down here for just any colors that I might want to create. When you mix the blue and the burnt sienna together, it makes a really nice gray. And this is what I use for my gray and my black. The burnt sienna or burnt umber. Actually, burnt umber is better if you want to make gray because you have to overcome less red. Burnt sienna is just a little more red than burnt umber. Burnt umber is more of a brown. So you just keep mixing till it's right. Just keep mixing till it's perfect, right? How will you know? You're just going to be looking at it like, okay, that looks like it's right in the middle. Maybe not a brown gray or a blue gray. I'm just going to put this here. So here's a really nice gray. So when you add these two to the green, which is basically what I did, a little bit of green in there, then you're getting into those like sea foam colors. And that's how you can dull down the Viridian. But what if, you know, I need it to be a little more yellow? Then you can add another shade. But it gets you in the ballpark, you know. It's not like I'm always going to need just that shade or just that shade. There will be some adjusting, but it gets you really, really close to where you need to be. I would use this one probably if I wanted to warm this up, but a yellow, not a red warm. You could do that. Which is a nice sap green that we kind of got here, but it's less intense. But I guess I could just add more yellow to it. So anyway, well, there's an abbreviated form of the charts for you. I think maybe before I do, I'll just do it on the plate. Before I do some color matching challenges for myself, which I am going to do, so you can see, I'm going to get all this off. And I just want to do what I did here on the plate because it's kind of fun to see it in action instead of doing it on a chart. So let's get this cleaned off. Okay, so I'm going to put Viridian in the middle. I have another green. I don't need it because I can make it, and then I'm in control. And if I use this green that it's already mixed with something else, then it's going to be harder to go a different direction with it. Okay, let's get a little more. Okay, so here we have the yellow. And then a little more yellow. Here's what that darker yellow will do. I felt it was similar to the ochre. Let me get a bit of a brown. And yes, I'm going to skip alizarin again. Maybe a little bit of that. All right, so my pretty blues. Let's see. Oh, well, then I didn't do this with the chart. This makes a really nice sap green. I'm going to add a little more Viridian. Okay, so a nice range of all the colors, and I just feel like Viridian's like ground zero, and then you can go anywhere you want with it. Okay, how about some color challenges? So I bring these when we do some color mixing, and either I'll mix a color and just put it on your watercolor paper, and then you have to mix it, or I give you one of these. So let's do that. Let's get rid of all the paint here because I'm going to need it to mix. And I am just going to pick out colors. I'll try to pick out colors that are very different from each other. Okay, let's get some paper. And a fresh one of these, because reasons. When you're doing the charts, you really have to keep things tidy in a way so that some colors don't affect other colors. Otherwise, it's not going to be a pure chart. Okay. Okay, which one should I pick? I'm going to go for this one, like a seafoam green. It's funny, it's a little lighter in the light. So I'm going to start with, it's obviously green, but yes, we're going to make adjustments. So we start off with that. We need a lot of adjusting. I'm going to go with a little bit of this and a little bit of this. And we might have it. And then it's just, when you figure out the colors, I went with Viridian and blue because it's a little towards blue, but I also brought in my burnt sienna to bring it down, and a little more towards sage. And once you get those three, then it's just a matter of adjusting back and forth the relationship between them. And there we are. So I've been painting for a really long time, 20 years, and that doesn't count the time in school. Color is very hard. One of the really hard things about color is seeing it. Like, oops. I remember leaving my painting class in tears many times because I could not mix the colors, and I could not see the colors I needed to mix. So my teacher would be like, oh, do you see how there's like a little bit of purpley gray? And he's just talking really, really subtle color changes. And I'm like, I just see gray. I don't see it. It's a training of your eye, training of your brain to be able to see what you want to mix. So it just comes with doing. But yes, I remember being very frustrated, and, you know, a year of painting and more before I started finally being able to see those subtle color changes. And now I'm so color sensitive, it's really hard for me, like to pick out wall colors and match things like home decor kind of things. It's just, now it's a curse sometimes because I'll get really unsettled if it's not quite right. And these minor adjustments, which I know people are like, it's the same color. No, it's not. Okay, let's do this one. Definitely gonna go with this. I think it's more sap green than blue. So I add that in, and then we just kind of see where we're at. All right, I need more green. Okay, now I need more of this. I think there's more yellow is needed. So I'm gonna go with the ochre. Mix over here and see. It might not be dark enough. So we're gonna do a little more, but try to get more pigment. There we go. And then grab more ochre. I think we're close. Let's just see. Yeah, it's just not dark enough. Sometimes it's hard. I need more pigment. There. It's closer. I think I put too much yellow in it. One second. Oh, yeah, I had an issue with my phone. Just give me a second. I gotta make it right. Yeah. You get to see my computer while I try to get my phone to be right side up. I'm not sure what's happening and why we have issues. It should straighten. Sorry about that. It is really struggling. I'm gonna have to leave and come back in. So why don't I do that? Hi. You probably can't hear me just now. Okay, I'm having some issues with my phone. Just give me a second. I'll turn the camera around so you won't see my finger. Okay. We got flipped upside down, so I had to redo it. Okay. How's this? You can hear me, right? I have to do the audio kind of strange to have my phone on. Oh, we're still laggy. Okay, so that's pretty close. Okay, let's do another one. Let's do this one. Not need yellow for this one. So I'm gonna wipe that off. I'm starting with Viridian. Could have started with blue. I generally just start with the color that's most prominent and then adjust from there. So I'm gonna go with some blue. Now, what do you think I should add? Now that you know a little bit, if you watched me. This is way too bright, right? So let's try this other bit of magic. Okay, that worked to dull it down, but now it's too green. So we're gonna add some blue. And I'm trying to stay with the same three colors if I can, so it doesn't turn to mud. And keep adding blue till it looks right. If I go too far, then I add some more of the other two colors. I try to right the ship. Let's see. Oh, that's really close. If not, spot on. Oops. Didn't keep it dark. All right, let's do a like a spring green color, but muted. So it's nowhere near this, but we're going to start there. But look how muted it is. Starting with green, I'm going to go with yellow ochre. I'm kind of liking that today. So look how close I am already. Maybe a little more yellow. And then water because it's too dark. Really too dark. This is a really soft color. So I'm wondering if I might have not gone the right direction. I'm going to do this again and try with the yellow and see. But see, if I just do the yellow, I'm going to have to add something to dull this down, which is probably going to be this, which will probably end up kind of being like yellow ochre. So I'm not sure. What I might do is add just a little bit of yellow to this. So I think I'm missing yellow in with this. I think I needed all three. So just kind of talking through it, what I'm thinking as I do this. This is a tough one. It's so subtle. And then it's got these like yellow overtones, but it's kind of neutral. So let's see. That's too green. Sometimes you can't tell exactly till you get it on the paper. I'm going to add some of this in here. That was burnt sienna again. Close. It's better. How's it look on the camera? It needs to be a little darker. I'm not real happy with that one. That was tough. I ended up adding 4 colors because I think I needed it. Yeah, this is a little too yellow. And maybe I should have added the yellow. Anyway, you see, I mean, I've been doing this for 20 years and I'm still a little, you know, it's an adjustment. Trying to find a color that's not quite what we've done. And some are just darker versions of what we've done. That's a little, oh, how about this one? This is almost gray. So can you guess what I'm going to start doing after our talk about gray? I'm going to make some gray. Do you remember how to make gray? I don't use black paint. Mostly, okay, so black paint and sap green. When I was in college, I was told not to use those. Not to use black for a few reasons, because you might as well just mix some colors together and get more rich black. But at the time, and I don't know if that's changed, but sap green and black were not color fast, were not archival. And after a while, they would fade. So if you used other colors to make black and the sage green, then it would be much better. So that's why I started just mixing my black, and I still do it. And plus, just saves me room on my palette, and then my brain's more involved. Okay, gray. Do you remember? Ultramarine. And a lot of it, like a lot of pigment, that is. Although I'm not making black right now, but I'll show you. And the burnt sienna or burnt umber, which is a more brown, less red. If you use burnt sienna, you're just going to have to add more blue to overcome the red. Okay. Clearly, I need more what? Because we are very brown right now. I need more ultramarine and more till we get rid of the brown, and then we cross over this halfway point to then we're making a bluish steely gray, and that's where we've gone too far. So just keep going. Oh, it might be there. It looks a little purpley on the screen. All right. So I start off with the gray, and in fact, I'm going to water this down a little bit because it's quite soft. And I'm just going to add a little dab of that. I think we're there. We're there. We're good. We're there. I'm going to take some away because that's way too dark. Yep. So there's your very soft green color. It's more gray than green. All right, one more. I think this one is different than the others we've done. So, what are you thinking? Obviously Viridian, but with what? We could go a couple different directions. I feel like we're definitely going to need burnt sienna. So I could start off with that and then see how much yellow after that is needed. And just kind of introduce it. Don't take over the whole thing because you don't know if you need to pull a little bit more. Okay. I feel like I just need more pigment to make it darker. More yellow. I'm going to go ochre. Let's see. It's a little more yellow. I'm being picky. It's a little too yellow. It's very slight. You might not be able to tell. Oh, yeah, I think you can tell it on the screen. It's a little too yellow. So I added a little bit of burnt sienna to bring it down. That's better. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. I do want to talk about my classes just for a little bit. There we go. Hi. You can see what going live does to me, even though you're all very nice. So my classes, you can get to them by going to rebeccafinch.com/shop classes, or if you just want to go to the website, give me a second. There we go. So it's rebeccafinch.com. And when you get to my homepage, you can either click art classes, which will show you all of them. And then you go here. It's kids classes. Sorry, that's where it's listed right now. Or you can go here. Summer classes will take you right to where it is. It's the first one. And today, like I said, I just added online for adults. So they're all on the Thursday. There's 4 Thursdays, $25 a class, 2 for kids, and I've got 2 age groups. And then we have adults in the afternoon and online adults in the evenings. So you just go down here. The classes are in my home, in this room right here. And then you pick. So you add to cart. Let me just show you. Sometimes it's confusing. So I added to my cart. Now what do I do? So you go up and you see the little shopping cart is right there. So let me know if you have any questions at all. This is kind of introductory. You're not going to learn everything you need in 4 weeks, but it will definitely get you started. We'll do some charts. We'll do color mixing challenges. Each week we'll do at least 1 color. Maybe we can fit 2 in. We'll see how time allows. But you're going to get started in it, and it'll be a systematic way. There won't be any guessing. And kids, I think it'll be really, really fun for kids to just see what happens when just 2 colors are added and how beautiful it can be. And then they learn these professional paints, because these are not, you're just not red, orange, yellow. These are the paints that I use when I'm painting. And if you're a professional artist, you're probably using them as well. So it's kind of fun that they get to learn them as well. So let me know if you have any questions. And the online class, if you can't make the time, let me know and I can adjust, or we'll just do another class as well. So they start in June. We have 12 days left, and I would love to see you either in person or online. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you later. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Saturday. Goodbye.